Greetings gamers, welcome to my channel. About a week ago, Starlight Re entered its early access phase and is officially open to the public. Despite having a rough start with bugs occurring here or there.
Oh, what is up with this map geometry?
The developers have been very active in the community Discord server, addressing these issues. This video will cover all the new content, quality of life updates, gameplay changes, and a look at the game's development roadmap, along with some final thoughts. So without further ado, grab a snack, relax, and let's dive. Let's start strong with a new biome that has appeared in Flipcurrent, Via's Mirror. A stunning chess-inspired area featuring new enemies like the Sworn Kibi, the Chariot, Temperance, the Lovers, the Page of Wands, and a few more nefarious ones like the Knight of Pentacles, the Fool, the Magician, and their elite counterparts. Oh, and a new boss, the Queen of Swords. This biome also introduces a new damage type, Trap Damage, which can damage both you and the enemies, so use it carefully. Even though the map is somewhat rough around the edges, I think it looks magnificent, and with some additional polish, it will provide a much smoother experience. However, I cannot say the same for the mobs in this biome. These guys are rather overtuned, meaning to some extent there is a lack of counterplay against these enemies, and they can potentially end your run just because of a small mistake, which is certainly frustrating. The good news is, the devs know this, and are working to make Via's Mirror better and more fun. Here's my personal take. As of right now, the difficulty jump from the first biome, Sacred Sky, to the second one, Via's Mirror, is too high, and I'm glad that we will be getting balance changes soon. The other new major content is the introduction of Vivi Altair, which completes the roster for the original 4 divers featured in the game's reveal trailer. His playstyle is described as setup and payoff. Now, I have been playing Vivi for several days, and so far I have been enjoying most of his abilities. He seems to specialize in large AoE crowd control, as well as having the option to utilize Fall Slam damage to its full potential. There is certainly more to be learned about Vivi, as well as the best use cases and builds for his skills. All in all, he is a fun, solid addition to the game, and if you're a fan of mid-range combat, Vivi may be worth trying. With all the new content covered, let's talk about the quality of life updates. When you boot up Starlight Re for the first time, you will be sent to the game's tutorial, where, after a quick cutscene, you will play as Kira and the game will guide you through the first half of Sacred Sky, teaching you the basic controls for movement and game mechanics such as abilities, buffs, upgrades, and the shop. This tutorial is replayable. In this version, they also introduced difficulties. As of now, there are 3 difficulties to choose from for the 2 biomes, Pro, Elite, and Superstar. This is great, because players can play at the level they want to be playing in, and it also allows players to develop their skill level step by step. The main difference across these difficulties is the health and damage of the mobs, and the harder it is, the higher the drop rate of crafting materials. So for the absolute beasts out there who want to speedrun the game, just run Superstar difficulty, and you'll do it in no time. The Codex, essentially the in-game wiki, has also undergone significant changes. It now has more categories and more information. It is essentially your collection of the mobs you've defeated, the charms and trinkets that you've obtained, and the fish that you've fished. Speaking of trinkets, they have also received a big overhaul. Now, instead of being crafted as a one and done deal, they have levels and can be crafted up to 5 times, becoming more powerful with each level, with an incrementally increasing cost. This is a new layer of progression in the game, and I see this as a development, as it provides something for players to work towards while significantly impacting their gameplay. Here's a fun fact, they were originally planning for 3 levels, and now it's 5. Moving on, there are some big changes to the core gameplay, most notably the addition of dash dogs and a new stat, Max Shield. The dash dogs is a nerf for the frequent usage of dashes back in the days of beta and Next Fest demo, as it gave the player an abundance of iframes. The Max Shield stat is also a nerf against the high or even infinite shield generating builds that allow survival way after fuel has been drained. This stat makes outlasting the decay from running out of fuel more challenging, encouraging players to defeat enemies sooner. While Max Shield is fun on its own, having it be an individual stat on every character does have a downside, as it reduces the supportive capabilities of team-wide shield generating skills. Though I do understand the necessity for the devs to add that. The dash stocks, however, I understand that this choice is to make players think more critically at their dash usage and not abuse it to fly past enemy attacks all the time. But in my experience, due to the rough geometry of certain map terrain, where I intended to dash to a spot but was unable to, at times I just felt discouraged to even dash at all, and it just feels too punishing at the moment. Another change is the removal of the refuel crystal and the introduction of this funny robot, which is pretty much the same thing. Instead of a large number of drops for a bit of fuel per use, it is now a single use per player for a slightly larger portion of fuel. Honestly, it's not a big change to me. If anything, I think it negatively impacted the single player diving experience because of the reduced number of drops. And here's a general tip from me. If your fuel is below half, then gamble responsibly. And now for the final major change, the one thing everyone has been asking for. They added animation canceling! This is huge for a game that has real-time combat. Although yes, in a way this does allow attacks to be less committal, this is a nice change that still requires skill to execute, so that players can preserve the most important resource of any human being: health, which is finite, especially with the addition of higher difficulties. Alright, we've covered all the new features and changes in the current patch, but what can we expect in the future? This is the part that I find the most exciting, because Starlight Revolver has released their development roadmap not just for the rest of the year, but also next year. Currently, we are in Q3 2025, where the developers will be working on balance and polish updates. And we can already see this in effect, as they rolled out their first balance update just 3 days ago. And for now, it seems it will be pushed out weekly. And according to this roadmap, we'll be getting our first major content update in about 2 to 3 months during the final quarter of the year. What's even crazier is that early next year, we'll be getting 2 more big content updates. Now, we don't exactly know what these features are yet, but one can only imagine what they could be. And I have a hunch that one of them may be stargazing. On to the final thoughts. What do I think about this early access release as a whole? The Steam Next Fest version was available up to June 16th, after which they had 2 months to roll out this early access version, containing the new biome, the new character, and a bunch of polishing and optimizing. It is honestly quite impressive that they were able to get this much content presentable within the short time frame. I do think that this release is to some extent rushed, and they could have taken more time to test the features before rolling them out, but this is not entirely a downside. When they announced that the game would be released on early access on August 27th, I was very excited. And when the day came, I got the game and played it. To be completely fair, the game has had a rough start, getting mixed reception from the community for many reasons. What I find commendable is how active and responsive the developers are in the community, and are answering out bug reports and game feedback shortly after they were posted, and are committing to weekly balance updates to improve the experience. I think as long as they continue actively listening and communicating, the full release of the game that comes out in late 2026 will be the result of developers who actually listen to the players' feedback, a version of the game that is built and shaped by everyone in the community. That's all for this video, and until next time, thank you for watching.